Welcome to the Legion Outriders Podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
Hello, Outriders. Welcome to your new Spider-Man podcast. It's all Spider-Man all the time. That menace must be stopped. I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about Spider-Man because 2 or 3 of the Outriders right now have seen it.
Yes, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, we're going to pause the podcast. We're going to stop recording. You're going to go watch it. We'll come back. And then we still won't talk about spoilers because that's what we're about. But John and Dan here in the studio. How you guys doing?
Doing great. I actually did go see Spider-Man last night.
Yes, you did.
Amazing movie. Go check it out. No spoilers.
I thought Amazing Spider-Man was a couple of years ago.
Well, it's good. Go see it.
Okay. How about that? I was very confused.
I was trying to choke back spoiler.
Now, I'm going to have to convince the missus to see it because we just recently saw Ghostbusters, which was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that was fun. That was real fun.
But it's taking a bit to convince her to go out to the theater because we're still being the whole,
Omicron is raging on right now.
Exactly. So, yeah. But no, it is on the to-do to get around to eventually.
For a second, when the headlines broke about Omicron, I got a little excited that maybe a giant Decepticon was on the prowl, but...
Oh, I for sure thought it was a Transformers thing.
Yeah, 100%. But
you didn't go to the Futurama reference?
No,
Omicron
what's the
Persei.
Omicron Persei
yeah,
8, of course, because why doesn't Ross, the largest of the friends, just consume the other ones?
Why does not the stronger COVID just consume the weaker one? But anyway.
That'd be a good one. That'd be very helpful. Be a bro.
Yes.
But we got a bunch of news to cover today, both for Legion, games in general, and all that kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and kick it on over to Dan with our news.
So yeah, Star Wars news. You guys see the Eclipse trailer?
Yeah.
Well, man. I mean, it's set in High Republic era, which honestly I personally haven't been a fan of, but still, it looks amazing.
You get to play with all the toys from the Clone Wars era without the clones, but you get a lot of Jedi. So I think that's where it's going to be kind of doing its thing.
Yeah, so still light on details, but from what was shown, of course, it was a fully cinematic trailer, no gameplay yet.
Right, yeah.
But interesting, they threw some kind of like almost to prequels kind of stuff in there. You know, the Neimoidians. There was a Naboo starfighter. In the background of something.
Definitely. That's why I was confused. Like, oh, this is Clone Wars, but it was like, what are all these Jedis and all these kind of things going on? But I think it's kind of perfect. It'll probably be just on that bridging to right before. You know, old Shivi Poo is doing his little voodoos in the background. But but we'll have some very familiar set pieces with, like you said, the Trade Federation and some other fun things to go and blow up with Force powers. I
might tie in with the Acolyte show because that's rumored to be set at the end of the High Republic era as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
we'll see if there's any tie-ins with that. But yeah. I mean, it looks awesome. The other video game news I didn't put down is the Star Wars Hunters had a new gameplay trailer out, but I mean, if you love Zynga games...
What, did they add another Jawa to the trench coat?
Not quite.
Then I don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, if you love hero team-based arena type games, I guess, we'll have to see when it comes out.
That is absolutely our market.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, Galactic Star Cruiser had some updates too. There were some more preview videos shown off.
Cool.
I don't know if you did catch any of those.
I heard something about one being put up, one being taken down, and then some different ones going out.
Yeah, there was a little controversy in there, but of course we want to keep it positive here.
Right. Maybe not the best production they could have led with.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you're a movie studio. You could have, like... Anyway.
Listen, my kid needed to do a project for film school, so...
But if you're interested in getting in one of the earlier flights, some of the bookings have opened up. Because at the 90-day mark, which has already passed for some of the first voyages, anyone who had booked was required to pay the full amount.
And people are backing out now.
And some people aren't paying that full amount, and they're starting to back out on that. So if you look at the calendar, some voyages have opened up on that. So if you're interested in sneaking in right at the beginning there, I'm of course, very eagerly awaiting some of the first voyages to go out because, you know, all the YouTubers and whatnot will be on there and recording everything.
It's just going to be a sea of cameras the entire time for at least the first several weekends, I'm sure.
So, yeah, very excited about that. At least see what's going on, what they did pull off. So,
yeah. I can't wait to hear early reports there.
So, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just been a lot of previews and things, other press stuff leading up to Book of Boba Fett, which is just,
we're so close.
2 weeks from now?
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, there's so much to watch right now. Why did they save all of this content for... Oh, I guess they saved it for winter break, but that makes sense. Witcher dropped. We've got The Expanse Season 6 going on. Hawkeye's still got a couple episodes left. It's
a good time to be a nerd.
Yeah, no kidding. Wheel of Time's going on. I started watching The Shadow and Bone. That's been great.
It's good, right?
Yeah. And then Book of Boba Fett and Spiderman. Spiderman.
But on to some drier news. Business. Game business.
Oh, good, because I had some wet clothes over here.
So word's been going around that, we previously reported that Asmodee was looking for a buyer.
Right, yeah. It was actually not that long ago.
Yeah.
That seemed to go pretty fast.
Yeah, actually, considering at the speed of these kind of things move, it is actually pretty fast.
Yeah.
But the Embracer Group, our new Overlord's Overlord, I guess.
Do we need to embrace the Embracer Group?
We must Embracer them.
Currently owners of a lot of video game studios.
Some quality ones in there. I'm a fan of a lot of these.
Literally 86 studios they own currently. THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, one near and dear to my heart, Coffee Stain Studios, because I love Satisfactory. Gearbox, Koch Media, and they have over 250 IPs with all those studios. Just crazy. But yeah, they are going to be buying Asmodee for 2.75 billion euros, and that's just a little over $3 billion US.
Man.
No, that was it was just sold in 2018, right? I think I remember reading that the Asmodee had purchased FFG and all those other ones and was bought out in 2018, I think.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And then
there,
they had basically bought it for $1 billion, somewhere around $1 billion. So essentially they just they doubled their value.
I mean, that's pretty clear that that's what they intended to do the entire time. That's why they were gutting, any of the leaner lines so they can make it look as profitable as possible. And yay, good job. You killed our studio. Well, you didn't kill our studio. I don't want to be negative, but definitely it's not the same place that we knew of a couple of years ago. And I'm pretty happy they're leaving. So I got to say,
I really hope that,
or at least with new oversight, that they'll have a refocus on turning out quality products that we've known.
Yeah, it looks like they really were doing all those things just to make themselves more appealing for a buyout. Which fine, if that's the case, cool. Bring back some of the personnel that you had work on these games, because you've got some great games. You know, and I'm looking at this strictly from the AMG FFG standpoint.
Right.
Like the ones that we care about: Star Wars, Legion, X-Wing. Personally, I care about MCP,
RPGs.
all
I'd
the
love
RPGs.
to see. Yeah,
like you have some great games. You have some great developers. You had some great teams working on those games. Bring this team back, or at least get
the band back together.
Give them the personnel and the resources that they need to continue making quality games.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this will be a more permanent home and that they'll be refocusing on the product and turning out good stuff. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I'm thinking this is more of an IP grab.
Oh, really?
Because they already have all these IPs, and since they're primarily a video game company, now they're moving into board games. They'll allow them to push their IP across both borders now, so they'll be able to use the IP in the board games and the video into the board games. Yeah, they own. One of the IPs they own is Borderlands. And I know there's several Borderlands games out there already, but it'll be a lot less licensing agreements.
That actually makes a little bit more sense now because actually, AMG, FFG, they've got licenses for big properties like Star Wars and Marvel, but strictly in the board game format. So they couldn't really, without doing, I'm sure, a separate deal for that. This is just armchair businessing right now. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense if they're going to have a board game company, they can take those IPs, like you said, like the Satisfactory board game or Borderlands, that kind of thing, and port that over and then have an outlet for merchandising and all that kind of stuff.
And and these type of games already exist where they cross over, but it'll be a lot less expensive for them to produce because they don't have to pay licensing fees and all this other stuff. So less red tape, less money spent.
So with that being said, that definitely seems like it would be a good indicator that we're going to have new product lines and everything coming. Hopefully, just shooting from the hip there.
Yeah. So Embracer did make an announcement that the transaction will be completed in 2022, And they did announce specifically that Asmodee's management team will continue to operate with no immediate reorganization. So
did they have like Andrew WK come out and like play keyboard for a little while, do little explosions going off?
Not quite, but they did also give a presentation to Asmodee's members of the Asmodee group to talk about this acquisition. And yes, it was very dry. There was a lot of PowerPoint slides with lots of graphs and pie charts and everything on them.
Oh boy!
But one interesting little tidbit dropped in this. A miniature market logo showed up in the list of acquisitions by Asmodee in 2021.
That was very quiet. I didn't hear anything about that.
So quiet that it like snuck out in this like business presentation. So
miniature market. That when I saw that pretty much floored me. I'm curious if maybe they had it as a release valve to get rid of like slow moving product at like a big discount without, I don't know, just kind of, boxes falling off the back of the truck. Oh yeah, you go sell that now. We don't need, these 500 board games, and we can't, sell it on our website for less than manufacturer's price. So that's what they have miniature market for. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was curious. I'm like, is now miniature market now going to be forced to sell Asmodee product at MSRP?
Well, now that the cat's out of the bag, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, it seems like miniature market is a much better distribution model than Asmodee does.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're bringing it in for distribution help. Well, that would make sense.
Hot take. I don't think it's going to help.
Hey, let's keep our fingers crossed. Who knows?
But yeah, look forward to it. It all sounds good overall, and
I think so.
What does it mean for Legion? Probably no major changes that we're going to see down, at our gamer level.
Maybe less hiccups in the production line, maybe if we're lucky. Yeah.
If we're lucky.
Or maybe an expansion or more assistance to like AMG or things like that for, budget and staffing and all that. Well, we'll see. Yeah. But, okay. Well, that's, I guess we're just going to wait for the future, and we'll check back in a year and see how things are now. Assuming we're all, still here.
Not on Variant Lambda or whatever.
No kidding. But I know that there's another tidbit piece of info that's just burning in your head that you just want to say. Go ahead, Dan. Just let fly. Well, okay.
I'm like,
wow. Oh. If only somebody could tell me how many days it was till a certain event.
Did you forget to calculate how many days to LVO?
No, I put it later in the schedule because we were going to be talking about it for
gaming events. You didn't expect me to read this thing, did you?
So now that we've gotten ahead of ourselves, 41 days to LVO.
Hey!
So yeah,
I'll act surprised later. Don't worry. You could have done like
I was confused. I'm like, where the hell are you going?
I didn't know where you were going with it either, to be fair.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. Jeez, I thought I was lobbing up a softball for you, but never mind.
Yeah, not so much. Getting ready for LVO, though, we've been getting a lot of games in.
Yeah. Oh, man. I've started helping coordinate here on the Vegas side of things a little bit, working with Duarte, and who sponsored quite a purchase of stuff for the event. So I've got that warehoused out at P9, and I'm expecting table shipments to be coming in hot and heavy from LJ, so that should be good.
Oh, nice.
Plus we got to make sure all our local tables are ready to go, but we're getting down there. Yeah. How many Star Tours boards are you going to have now? You're going to have the entire tarmac out there now.
No, well, yes. I mean,
yes.
I'm sure once I can get this to a photo-ready state, because yes, I'm still painting some terrain. Comparing that to the old 2020 Star Tours board, I don't think it'll be recognizable. We'll see.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know you were 3D printing a lot of stuff. Speaking of 3D printers, John threw his hat in the ring and is now a 3D printer person, an artisan.
I got it plugged in. I figured out how to put filament in the spool, and I used the sample code that was given to me on the SD card to print a small owl.
Oh. So hot damn, that's some good stuff.
I'm well on the way to becoming a 3D printing artist.
Okay, because we're going to need about 15 more tables by the time LVO comes around. Are you up to it?
I mean, if you want a table full of small owls, then we're good.
This is going to be like the Sabine Wren, Clan Wren
exactly,
tie-in.
Yeah. Want a planet full of statues of owls. Gotcha.
Owl. Wow.
Of all the exact same size.
Exactly.
What's this table full of owls? Who did this?
I'm
Why?
I think I found our episode title. I'm just writing that down.
But anyways, you guys
man.
have been doing the local Slow Grow League
Yeah.
for Legion, and it's completed now, right?
Well,
Yep, the first season, yep.
First season. Okay.
Yeah. So first season completed. We're I'm coordinating with the store owner over at Power 9 to get set up for our second one, which will be running January 1st through January 20th. So we're literally right up to LVO.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'll definitely jump in for that one. I was going through some, surgeries and redoing my studio and all that. So
you're doing a lot of admin work over for LVO since you're support staff. You're not actually playing.
Yes, I did like 15 to 20 hard minutes there.
Well, I hope LJ is not listening.
I mean, I'm staying up at night thinking about this. And I'm losing hair. It's horrifying. LJ, you monster! What have you done to me? But how would you guys think of it? So when did you end up playing? How many games? Dan, let's start with you.
So we had pods of 4 people.
Okay.
And of course we've mentioned previously that John and I got assigned
in
to
the same
pod.
So. Yeah, I don't see either of you wearing a little crown, which I expected.
Yeah. So that was fun. I went 1 and 2. And John went 2 and 1.
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
you lost.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the last game was playing against Micah McClure, who ended up winning our pod, and actually was the only undefeated person in the whole league. So
he's a bit of a dark horse coming in from 40K, right?
Yeah, he was a really good 40K player. He came in with the list. Do you want to go into the list right now?
Oh yeah. Well, I talked about it previously because I had played him before our last episode. Where
just to refresh my memory.
Kraken.
Yes. So he was running. Wasn't running Kraken. He was running Kalani.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kalani, 2 HA B2 squads with the HA and the T series. What else? He had the triple staps. Yeah. And just a bunch of B1s just to pad out the activations.
Just huge amount of activation control.
Yeah, so he was running, I think, was it 10 activations?
It was 10 activations.
10 activations. It was really, so I mean, to refresh, I was running Yoda, triple Wookiees, Chewbacca, and 3 pretty much naked clone squad, phase 1 clone squads.
Okay.
8 activations. I got some good mileage out of it, but I realized there's a lot of weaknesses. It's very one-dimensional in what it does.
Wooks.
Yeah. I mean, which works great in some cases. That list that he has a lot of things that are hard counter to it.
Really?
Those staps, the ability for staps to just completely outflank, and get around the side, fire my backside. The thing that really crushed me though, and you had mentioned this in your game with him, the 2-pip that the super tack comes with a disengage, where it automatically gives them disengage. I got my Wookiees in there engaged with his B2s, and then all of a sudden that disengage card comes out and he just backs up. And I never played against B2s before. B2s at range 2 are ruthless.
Turns out they've got a lot of shots there.
They crush Wookiees. I mean, they having the ability to get rid of cover with the HA. I mean, even the mighty Wookiees could not hold up to that.
The mighty have fallen. Man.
So
that's good. I'm excited that we have. We've got a couple of droid players, but it sounds like he's really competitive minded. So that'll be great to get some games against.
Yeah.
I don't think we had anybody playing Staps before, really.
No, that's the first game I played against triple Staps.
Wow.
So both, and people listening are probably like, wait, I mean, those have been part of the meta for a while. We just didn't have that.
Not in Vegas,
yeah.
So I'm glad I got a chance to play against it. He's a good player. It actually came down to, we were playing Sabotage Moisture Evaporators. We tied on the evaporators, so it came to points.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so very close game.
Yeah,
well,
so
that's
it
good.
ended up being really close.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's a great list. He's a good player, so I'm happy to see not only do we have new blood, but also new competitive players.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, of course, all new players are we're excited to have, but I'm very glad it was a close game, unlike Dan's. Dan.
Well, speaking of not close games, our game that we played.
Oh, you guys played
John
each other. Okay.
Yeah, well, we had to. We were in the same pod.
Right.
Yeah. So, Wookiees just climbing over buildings and raining death from rooftops. How many times did I shoot what I call them roof Wookiees?
The roof Wookiees, yeah.
See, what you got up there is you got a bad case of roof Wookiees. It's going to take a while to get those things out. It's not going to be cheap, I got to tell you.
You just portmanteau them into roofies.
Yeah.
So
You're right, absolutely.
So I took 2 squads of the melee Wookiees with the battle shield, and I took 1 of the ranged Wookiees with Overwatch and the bowcaster. So I parked, that squad up in a nice, nice view of the battlefield, and I don't remember what our objectives were, but it was something that brought it in close, right?
I did take pictures of it, but I'm gonna have to dig through my.
Essentially, we were playing like on a 3x3 map because the objectives had been concentrated so close in the center.
So it seems like a Wookiee's delight.
We were doing key positions. Anyway, so it was key positions, and. Yeah, with the...
Yes, I found it here. It's a long march, supply drop key positions. Is what we did.
Yeah. So, parking those Wookiees up there, and I think Dan kind of got stuck in a sunk cost fallacy where he just kept shooting at him, and he's like, well, I've already invested this much into shooting him off the board. So I was able to, do a lot more damage than he probably anticipated with those Wookiees.
This is the ranged pierce with the bowcaster is just gross.
Yeah. And
especially as a red save army.
Yeah. No, it's tough because I know exactly what you're talking about. Like you say, the sunk cost fallacy, but does it apply? I mean, rule 101 of like tabletop miniature gaming is focus fire, delete a unit, go to the next. Don't split your fire.
Yeah.
So at what point does it become that sunk cost and identifying the spots where it's like, well, I'm really not getting it done. But by the time, well, at least for me, by the time I recognize that situation, it's way too late. Like, it's like, okay, I needed to kill 2 of those units last turn, and it's not going to happen at this point. And there goes the game. Goodbye. You know, that kind of thing.
And on top of that, when I've got Yoda out there with his 3-pip, where I can, give them a standby and then guidance them and then, share aims and share dodges with them. Yeah, it ends up, Yoda's a great support piece.
Yeah, and Yoda was standing behind the building that had the roof Wookiees on it, just handing them everything.
How many points is Yoda?
205 points.
That's a hell of a support piece, dude.
200 points, but once you put the other...
Just the force multiplier he makes the Wookiees.
I guess, yeah.
Well, then the force barrier, so I'm canceling...
Oh, yeah. So, I think that saved, 6 to 7 damage over that entire game.
Yeah.
That's stupid force barrier.
Yeah.
Did you have any medics or anything?
Nope.
Nope.
I had Chewbacca, to, in case he had gotten to Yoda, so I could, take some wounds off Yoda, but not even that. I mean, I think Yoda was pretty much unscathed for the most of that game.
Yeah, he was. I tried to flank my Vader around the side, and you had one group of Wookiees, pounce on him from another rooftop.
Yeah, and I was able to tie that up, and going into your list, because I have not played against Op Vader, and I've not played against the new Op Vader, so I was a little scared of that. So, I mean, despite what Colby was able to do with his B1s that one game, I knew that was kind of an anomaly, and realistically, I wasn't going to expect those results. But yeah, I think having him kind of get tied up on the side and not being able to affect the general melee going on in the middle kind of helped me a little bit.
It wasn't a lot of melee. It was a lot of death raining from Wookiees.
The roofies. Death by roofies.
I'm still shocked by your use of the word portmanteau. So it's just been echoing around in my head for the last few minutes. But anyways, any other highlights from this series? Things you might change differently in the next league?
Well, possibly my most memorable game ever was with Colby.
Oh yeah,
not because of what was posted on Facebook about the game, which I'll get to in a minute, but some interesting highlights. I won't battle report this step by step, but we were playing recover supplies and hemmed in.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of space. So it was interesting. He puts one of his B1s on his side because he put his box off to the side. I put mine right in the middle next to the main one because I knew I was just gonna infiltrate on top of him. So I dropped Iden and Inferno Squad off on the middle. But anyway, I grab all the boxes, I'm pulling back, and he literally just drives his AA5 tank right into my central mass of troops, displaces 5 troops.
Wow.
I didn't twice because it was a double move.
Wow. You think he's...
So I was dogpiling boxes, and the tank said, I want to dogpile too.
Wow.
On everything.
All right.
The downside with that is he dropped his tank off literally right on Vader's doorstep.
Oh.
Vader don't play.
So yeah, 2 turns later, Vader had cut the tank in half.
Yeah.
Had an interesting duel with Count Dooku in the middle of the board that literally came down to dice rolls.
Wow. Okay.
Where it was literally he attacked.
Doesn't it always come down to dice rolls?
Well, it was Into the Fray VIP card, by the way.
Yeah.
Vader only survived Dooku with 1 health left thanks to Into the Fray and all those surge tokens.
Oh, nice.
And of course, coming out of that duel with Dooku, so Vader now has killed the tank and Dooku.
Wow.
Surrounded by 4 squads of B1s after Dooku had died. So I'm like, I'll just force pull this, squad of B1s into me so that I'm bubble wrapped and safe.
Yeah.
So 7
Wait, with 1 health?
With 1 health.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
B1s.
Oh, okay.
They only hit on, they don't surge on melee. I've got red defense dice. They rolled 7 hits in melee with 1 aim token.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was ignominious.
Well, and I'm like, okay, I still got red defense dice. I've got, a surge because
you got 7 hits with 1 health, dude. I mean, at what point is your confidence shaken?
So let's just say I got of 7 hits, I got 5 blanks and 2 surges.
Oh.
So you force pulled in the unit with a karate protocol, basically, is what you're telling me.
So yes, we posted that up on the main Facebook page, and thank you to the 150 or so people that reacted to that. I was told to turn in my Empire card by the end of the day.
Yes, no longer in the Empire.
Yes, and that apparently those B1s had Dark Trooper software installed in them.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it was a very, very roller coaster of a game on that. I did end up winning on objectives, though, because I had grabbed 3 boxes and was able to get them out of there before all that crazy fireworks happened. So
nice.
Yeah.
Any changes that you would make going into the next season? Because this is going to be basically your last chances to get games in before some sort of event that's coming up at the end of January, right?
Oh yeah, so I've already reformatted my list, and the core is still the same. It's still
now it's 2 Vaders.
Well, I wish. And I was waffling between 2 ISFs or 2 IRGs, and I'm like, let me split the difference: 1 ISF, 1 IRG.
Okay, that's a thing you can do. Actually, no, that
actually,
sounds fine.
it's actually been working.
Oh, good.
Quite well.
Okay, yeah, actually, sounds pretty good.
They do 2 totally different things. So
yeah. So now I've got 3 infiltrate units, so I can just drop on objectives, and as well as another melee unit to help back up Vader.
Yeah,
and I mean, Iden flexes as a melee unit, so it's.
And I'm looking at John. So you've got your IRG as a linebacker unit.
Yes.
Okay, he didn't immediately correct me. All right.
No, you're good.
Yes. But in the few games I played in the interim, those IRG have either gathered all the hate, or they have just been immortal and just annihilated lines. I've killed 3 to 4 squads of rebel troopers with that thing in one game alone.
Actually, I just thought of something that I can use to relate its role a little bit more on the battlefield. It's the water boy unit.
There you go.
That's
the
it.
water boy is a linebacker.
Yeah.
Look at that. I just have to reference an Adam Sandler movie, and you're good.
There it is. See? Easy. Sports is easy.
Yeah, I think for my list, and we'll talk about it a little bit in the next segment, because there's some stuff that's coming out of recent tournaments that has kind of inspired me a little bit. But I think with Yoda and Wookies, I think Yoda is awesome. I think the Wookiees are awesome. I don't know how well they synergize, because Yoda's main function is as a support piece, and there are other pieces he supports better than Wookiees.
Interesting.
I think if I want to run triple Wookiees like I always do, and if I want to do it in Republic, I'm possibly thinking about how to incorporate Anakin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Now, I've been hearing more and more buzz about Anakin, so I'd be really curious to see what you can say. But okay, let's take a short break here. We're going to listen to our sponsors, but let me also take a second to thank our Patreon members that are keeping us flying here and recording. Appreciate that. And welcome our newest Imperial Outrider, Holton Hester. Thank you very much for your support. Please stop on by the Discord, messages if you got anything going on. But hey, buddy, thanks. Otherwise, we'll be right back to talk about some major events. Hey guys, Matt here to tell you about our friends over at 6 Up Supply. If you're like me and don't have access to your own 3D printers, 6 Up Supply has you covered with a whole suite of printing services to bring those awesome files to life. The Outriders are proud to be partnered with 6 Up, and you could find special themed terrain, gear, and tokens with a big discount for Patreon members in the Outrider Central section of the website. And that's not all. You can also get terrain bases, game supplies, tools, LED kits, and more. Stuff is being added all the time. So stop by the number 6upsupply.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER to save 10% on your next order, and let them help you up your game.
You are receiving the Legion Outriders Podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
How's it going, Outriders? Welcome back. In the break, Dan has gone and seen Spider-Man, so now we're going to just go and transition over to talking about everything Spider-Man. What is your favorite Spider-Man thing?
Oh, man, those post-credit scenes.
Yeah, wow, it's like you actually saw it. How does he stay so topical? We had a couple of large events coming out of the Nolan's Open, and also PAX had a event for Legion, which generated some interesting results. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard there for PAX, and John's got the list there in front of him. What can we glean from the top tables there at the old PAXI?
So there's a lot of, like, with both of these tournaments, there's a lot of really unique lists that came out. We talked about earlier, I think last podcast, like, we're kind of in a Wild West right now when it comes to, like, what the meta is.
And our Wild West has now transitioned to, like, the cursing tombstone Timothy Oliphant Wild West. It's crazy out there. Like, people are dying left and right.
Not Will Smith, Wild West?
That's a little bit wackier fun than I was going for.
Okay,
but it's got the spider droid.
Yeah.
So
there is a spider droid in that.
Damn
topical.
It.
Yeah.
You're right. I reject my reality and substitute yours.
So these are the first two tournaments, I think, in the U.S., like a in-person tournament, that have actually featured the Kashyyyk Wave stuff. Mm-hmm. I believe PAX, you were allowed to use the Yoda and Wookies. I don't think New Orleans was.
I believe they were.
I think I remember looking at the list, and I don't think the Yoda was allowed at New Orleans Open, because New Orleans Open was an FLG event, and I think they were still playing under the rules. You might be right. Correct me. Check on that and correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll have to check that, because, well, it's hard to say, because Yoda or Wookiees didn't land in the top 4, and we were just looking at the top list, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
the ones that I looked through, but I know at PAX they were there, they were prevalent. I know Evan Bulris, who was one of the guys on the Fifth Trooper podcast, ran a list that would be near and dear to my heart. It was Chewbacca, triple Wookiees, and triple Kashyyyk Fluttercraft. So, I mean, that's a fun list. But I mean, like, the stuff you typically, kind of out there. But the number one list, or the list that won the event, going 4-0, this is a really cool list, and it's really interesting how it functions. So it's essentially a Yoda, Padme, Saber Tank list, which... They're, two of those are very expensive units, and Padme's, not cheap, including a clone commander. So you're dealing with basically more than half your army wrapped up in 4 units, essentially. But the way it functions, it creates basically an area 2 denial, because we talked about it before a little bit, but Yoda's got that 3-pip card that essentially gives you... exemplar, but like super exemplar. Mm-hmm. So you have the ability to share any green token you have. He starts with 2 dodges. He starts with 2 aims, 2 surges. The ability to do guidance. So he basically becomes a super support. Not just that, but all of your units have order tokens. So with that tank, and with Padme already having exemplar built into her, you can fire that tank 4 times foreseeably on that turn, on his 3 pip turns.
That's gross.
Yeah,
just
gross. And with the correct order of operations with Yoda's command cards, you can get 3 turns with that 3 pip card.
But think of the investment you're putting into having that thing. I mean, it's a great gun and all that, and it does tons of damage, but what else are you doing with the rest of your list?
Well, that's 8 activations, too, which used to be like, crazy skinnier teeth in the old meta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. But, if you're dealing with the low activation count, taking standbys is kind of the way to mitigate that, because then your opponent isn't able to just act freely during their turns. They still have to respect the fact you have those standby tokens. So the way you'd essentially do this is you move your tank up at some point, probably not right away, but you move that tank up and you're able to fire it at range 4. But then you can take a standby with Padme, which she can share with Exemplar to allow the tank to fire again if anything comes within range 2 of it. It's a big base. Range 2 is a fairly large threat area. So if you get one of the objectives that kind of forces everything into the middle, or you can reduce the size of the board by picking something like Long March, you can really increase the effect of that range 2 bubble of Overwatch, or standby. And then on top of that, of course, Yoda can take a standby himself, which he can share with the Saber tank, and he can also use guidance to make Padme take another standby. So, everything kind of has to play out the way you want it, but in a era where we're dealing with a lot of aggressive melee lists, this feeds perfectly into defeating that.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to see that with your Wookiee
absolutely
list at all.
No,
yeah,
not at all. But as you said, you are putting all of your all your eggs in one basket or one tank.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very hard to kill. It's got outmaneuver, so you are able to cancel. You can use dodges, and you can use dodges to cancel crits. Well, on those 3 pip turns, Yoda's got 2 dodges sitting right there for you.
Oh,
Padme
nice.
can do quick thinking, give herself an aim and a dodge, which she can share with that tank. You can take a dodge action yourself. So you've got a lot of sources of getting those dodges to cancel that. You have red saves. You can share surge tokens from Padme or from Yoda on those turns. So it's a very hard to kill thing. And of course, he's got R2-D2 in there.
Of course.
And
R2-D2,
if you do manage
magical
to actually...
trash can cherry on top of that.
Exactly, yeah. So, it's a very, very difficult to remove piece. You're not going to plink it to death. You're not going to be able to use snipers or whatever. Like, Pierce is a good way to get rid of it. I think, bowcaster Wookiees could do some work on it,
do a little chip, but
I mean, yeah, you got R2-D2 throwing 4 more health on it. I mean, it's I think 9 health base, so
it's pretty tonky.
It's a very hard piece to remove, and obviously Mike got a lot of success with it. He went 4-0. It could be a list that a lot of people are going to look at running at LVO. I wouldn't be surprised. I want to play around with it.
Do you have any of those pieces?
I have all those pieces.
You have all those pieces? I didn't know you had a saber tank. Oh, okay, cool.
It's not fully painted yet. That's why it's not out. It's assembled. It's base coated. It has not been fully painted yet. So.
Yeah, you had quite the investment this last week of...
So for anyone who hasn't already, I play MCP as well, and I have all of the MCP stuff that's out in the States so far. I came home with quite a haul this past week for my friendly local game store because they got everything in at once. So all of the Convocation Wave of MCP, all of the Kashyyyk stuff for both droids and for Republic. So yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
It was like basically bringing home a Christmas bag full of stuff.
I think we're brushing over something here, though. John has just said that he's going to forsake his Wookiees.
I said I want to dabble in this. I want to try it out.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because I want to know what this list play is like. I don't know if I'm going to bring it to LVO, but I want to know how to beat it essentially. And looking at it, just theory crafting in my head, I think the ways to defeat this, I think double T-47 is going to be really good against this list. Anything that's fast and that can get at range, hit it at range 3.
What's the weak point, do you think?
Well, I mean, it does have the back and flanks are both weak points.
Yeah.
Literally weak points of the card.
There's that.
So,
or would you attack the Yoda or the Padme?
Well, Padme is the weak. So Padme is the linchpin in this list. Because Padme can share that exemplar every turn. So you're getting that standby every single turn from Padme. So killing her eliminates that, and it reduces Yoda's ability to give those standbys from 4 times a turn to 2 times a turn.
Interesting.
So,
even with double T-47, like looking at that tank and all the support it's got, I don't know, I could get rid of it in 2 turns of like just full on firing. Chances that you'll get 2 full turns are pretty small too.
Sure.
So.
Anything that can really force it to commit to one side. So I think turn 0 goes a lot into trying to beat this list because if they get Long March, good luck. If they get one of the objectives that forces you to go towards the middle, good luck.
So roll out, danger close, things like that.
Something like that, yeah. So there's some ways to mitigate that, I think, but I think killing Padme.
Hope for breakthrough and go for it.
So with Yoda, with his exemplar, he can be outside of line of sight. Like in the game I played against Dan, I parked him behind a building.
Yeah.
I didn't really move until I had to.
No.
So Yoda, you don't really need to expose. Padme needs line of sight to share with exemplar. So depending on what the terrain state is, she's going to need to get somewhere close enough where she can have line of sight on the tank, which means she may be exposing herself to line of sight to your units. So if you are running something like Iden or Cassian or snipers, she's a very, very good target to try to make this list at least half as effective.
Interesting. And that was the first place list out of there?
That was the first place list out of PaxU.
It was that Mike Gem?
Mike Gem. Gimme. The other 3 that placed in the top 4, Josh Prosser, Mike Cirillo, who is a good dude. I've played him before at the LVO last year, a great player. And then John Lopez. So Josh, the second place person, was running an Imperialist. This one was interesting. Is Op Vader and an Imperial officer, triple Stormtroopers, double IRG, and triple dewbacks. So
all the melees.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Huh.
So
lots of melee out on the field.
Yep, and it's a list that I've seen pop up in other tournaments, and I think it was pretty prevalent in this latest season of Invader League. I think, unfortunately, it's a list that plays right into that saber tank.
Yeah.
Because everything that needs to move up to get up there, I mean, your best source of impact is going to be Vader.
I mean, it's no slouch.
No, exactly. But you got to get to range 2 to do it, even with the saber throw, and that's right in the wheelhouse of that saber tank.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to be sacrificing your royal guards to soak wounds to get them in there and keep them alive in time to chop the tank up. But that's cool. What about the 3rd and 4th? What did they have?
So Mike was running a droid gun line. And this list is kind of cool. It's similar to what Micah was running in our list, in our league, except for he was running spider droids, which, again, I think spider droids are going to be a big thing in this upcoming meta. So double spider droids, double Magna Guard, and Kraken.
Okay.
Which I like Kraken more than Kalani. I know Mike had some good reasons for bringing Kalani, but I think Kraken I don't know. I think he does more.
Okay.
Kalani's more of just a support piece, whereas Kraken can do support, and he's also, sharpshooter too with Pierce with a better gun.
He can sling some bolts.
Yeah, he's got 4 red dice in melee.
Yeah, he punches way harder.
Yeah. So I kind of want to dabble. So this is why I'm having a hard time deciding what I want to do for the next league, because I also want to run Magna Guard. Like this list is very similar to what I want to run also. So
yeah. I like that people are, having all these like, oh, I want to try this, and I want to try that. That I think that's good. Shows, until things get ironed out, but still, it seems like it's a healthy state for the game.
Yeah. And then John Lopez was running a Republic list. I think it was Wookiees and Clone Commander 5s. Yeah, he put some kitted out Phase 1 squads. 3 units of Wookiees with Bowcaster, the melee Wookiees, and a Clone Commander with Padme. So, it's a good list, and I think Padme is going to become a more prevalent piece in a lot of Republic lists.
Yeah.
Just because of that exemplar ability.
Yeah.
Since the clone sharing got nerfed quite a bit, so getting the exemplar sharing, it's just as good.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so that's how many players do they have at PAX?
22.
22.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
But we also had the New Orleans Open that happened. Was that the same weekend or pretty close to it, right?
The same exact day.
Yeah, they ran on the same weekend.
Wow,
so it was interesting to have 2 somewhat major events
running
at the same time. And the interesting thing is that they were, I think, spaced far enough apart where they weren't really cannibalizing each other as far as players.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which was up in Philadelphia, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and of course down in New Orleans. So you got kind of the southeast and the northeast drawing those players in.
I mean, screw us West Coast people, though, right?
Yeah, we already had our fun.
And we're going to have our fun.
Yeah.
I want everything.
Yeah. And you shall have it.
West Coast,
And
West Coast.
I think we mentioned last episode, PAX was run by our good friends over at 6 Up Supply. So
hey, good job, guys. Okay,
yeah,
and then so New Orleans Open had looks like 26
players.
Yeah.
So yeah, about the same. And of course, I love the acronym, the NEW for this.
New.
So this, I mean, we've said it before. The meta is there is no meta. So there was some wacky stuff in this one. First place was Gus Smith, Krennic, Vader, Gunline.
Are you sure it wasn't you, Dan, wearing a different
I know.
avatar?
I'm like, this looks like my LVO 2020 list. I'm like, without Vader, but still. But yeah, Krennic, Vader, Op Vader, 2 Shore Troopers, 2 Stormtroopers, 2 Mortars, Death Troopers, and a Sniper Strike Team.
Nice.
So like all the pews from range.
I think I was talking to Tumnus earlier on the Discord, and he's at an event this weekend. I think he's running basically.
Yeah, he's a variant of this one. Yeah, because we've been talking to him on our Outrider Discord.
Yeah.
So yeah, when these results first came in and I was first glancing through them, I'm like, what the heck? Weren't we in the Melee meta? Were we just talking about this? What? So I really wish there was streaming at these 2 events, and we understand, yes, the venues unfortunately charge obscene amounts of money for internet access. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry to say we couldn't, see these games in action. I would have loved to, just to see how this played out.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily though, we will have streams at LVO. So
yay.
Second place, Flyboys is back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. We there was no Rebels in your top 4 list over there, was there?
Nope, 2 Republic, 1 Empire, and 1.
Okay.
Yeah, and this, over on this side, 3 Imperial in the top 4 and 1 Rebel. Wow. So,
but one
they're
thing,
back, baby.
One thing I will point out though, so the second place list was piloted by John Bushman.
Yeah, for Bushfax. Yep,
Bushfax, and I've played Bushman before a couple times, I think. Yeah. He ran Flyboys back when it was the original Flyboys before Op Luke was out. He knows that list. Like he always plays Luke. If anybody was ever gonna teach like a Luke tutorial, it'd be Bushman.
Okay.
So I mean this list is in very capable hands. We'll put it that way.
Okay, gotcha.
So it was Han, Operative Luke, Chewbacca, some DLT Rebel Troopers, Rebel Veteran, and 3 Sniper Strike Teams. So
wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
I mean, the strike teams are awesome now thanks to low profile, so not surprising.
That's a good point. Yeah, I haven't played any of the sniper teams since those changes, so I usually don't like to. John,
well, they're Wookiee. They take the place of Wookiees.
Because you frown at me when I play snipers, and I feel that. Yeah, just disgruntled.
I love Dan as a person, but he and I do not mesh with our play styles. Gun lines are no fun.
Well, I mean, I'm evolving out of the gun line.
He's trying new things.
Yeah.
How about you, John? What are you doing to push your boundaries as a player?
I put Yoda out there.
Oh,
he
was
just talking. He's gonna forsake his Wookiees for a saber. That's what he's gonna do.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, what is ranged combat except wanting to punch somebody that's like way over there? So, as the joke goes.
And third place was run by Florf. Zach, yeah, Florf.
Hey.
Another interesting gun line, Krennic Triple Death Trooper.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so Krennic, 3 Shores, 3 Mortars, and 1 Shorehead Gideon in it, and then 3 Death Troopers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's just a battlefield full of people garbling static at each other. It's great.
Yeah, I really wish I could have seen these.
That list?
That was that one? I only have the list in front of me here, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
That was 10.
It's crazy to think that you can fit a triple Death Trooper list and still get 10 activations. Yeah. That's how much they cut the Imperial stuff down, and you still get like heavy weapon upgrades and all that stuff in there. Wow.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, and then of course our 4th place list.
This one is exciting.
Yeah, by Scott Combs. Double ATSD Naked Bosk.
Does it say Naked Bosk on there?
Well, Bosk with no upgrades.
You're editorializing again. Just wanted to say something about a naked.
Yeah. So Weiss ATST, Hammer ATST, Bosk with no upgrades, 3 snowtroopers, 2 of them with astromechs.
Okay.
2 scout trooper saboteurs, and an E-web.
Like, this is the most random list you could possibly imagine. Like, who has ever made top 4 in an event with triple snowtroopers? Never. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, we talked about it as like a challenge mode before, but
I mean, triple snowtroopers, double ATST, an E-web.
An E-web, yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, other than Boss, they're going deep in the Blizzard Force Hoth theme here, which is great.
Maybe setting up, hoping that maybe those forces will be when they get the theme forces going.
Well, and double Sabs too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, think about that list against that Saber tank list. You're running those double ATSTs with, I mean, the Hammer's pilot is one of them, right?
Yeah.
So you got one of them with Weiss, one with Hammer's pilot. So you're going to be throwing like all of the impact, all of the crits at range 3 or 4. So you can outrange that Saber tank for most of its standby sharing. You got all the mines out there for the saboteurs to deal with, Wookiees or whatever units want to try to engage in melee. It may not play the objectives well, but it throws a lot of dice out there.
Yeah. Man, I feel like we've traveled from the meta to the counter meta to the counter meta at this point. So,
well, I mean, like the disparity between the top 4 at PAX and the top 4 at New Orleans Open. I mean, all of those lists in the New Orleans Open are range lists, like range heavy gunline lists. I mean, minus Flyboys, but still, he was running triple snipers in there. It definitely wasn't a melee list.
No, yeah, the meta is there is no meta. You have no idea what
Hooray!
the hell you're.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see what would have happened with the top 4 at PAX and the top 4 at New Orleans Open if they played against each other. Like,
oh yeah,
no, the gun lines. Like, is the gun line back? With the prevalence of some of these vehicles.
I think it's just, I mean, there is a meta. I think it's just down to your local meta, though. What are people trying out, and how do you come up with counters, and then how do they counter your counters? And then when we get everybody mooshed together at LVO, it's going to be one of those battle royale situations, I think, with vastly different lists, just kind of seeing. It's going to come down to your pairings, what you're versing, if it's going to be something that you're strong against or weak. And I think there's going to be a lot of luck in the matchups, depending on this, to see who's climbing the tables there.
So I think one telling thing that I think will probably shape up more with LVO and maybe with this last season of Invader League is, are we going to see more of the Kashyyyk Wave stuff in here? Because we haven't seen a lot of the Kashyyyk Wave stuff in these lists. I mean, some of the spider droids and the Magna Guard in Mike Cirillo's list, but I mean, it didn't sound like New Orleans Open had much in the way of
because the top, what would have had Kashyyyk stuff in it, I don't have the list in front of me, but the top Clone Wars faction was 8th place with Lupo. Okay. We're playing a Separatist list.
Wow.
Oh, Lupo was playing a Separatist list.
Oh. Yeah.
Interesting, because I played Lupo at SoCal,
he was doing
and
Rebels,
Lupo ran a Rebel list with T-47 and AA5, Cassian, K2SO, and
that was your high-fived it out game.
Yeah, exactly.
And the top Republic list was Al Paz at 14th.
Yeah, so
this is like...
I think I remember seeing that New Orleans Open was not allowing Vader Wookiees. I think they were allowing...
Vader Wookiees?
I'm sorry, Yoda Wookiees.
Yoda Wookiees. Okay.
And I don't know if
screw Vader.
I don't know if they were allowing any of the unreleased US stuff or stuff that hadn't been released at least 2 weeks. Because if they were abiding by the old...
Because I could have sworn I read something that they were going to follow the same rules that LVO was doing, which was proxies allowed.
They say okay, yeah.
I mean, that could be. Maybe people weren't just getting enough reps with it.
Or it wasn't available enough for people to start.
That could very well be, because we dealt with that shipping issue here too. Like, a lot of that stuff was shortchanged by the old Asmodee logistics.
The old Asmodee logistics is still the current Asmodee logistics. I'm sorry, there's no old there.
But there are new overlords.
Yes.
No, I mean, like, there could have been other issues that prevented that from being widely available. But you did see some of it here on the PAX lists with Mike Cirillo. And obviously with Mike Jemmy throwing Yoda in that saber list.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe these results will be complete red herrings, and we'll be next year talking about, remember the Fluttercraft LVO winter of 2022? Crazy times, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've said on a previous episode, I was actually hoping that these two events would kind of suss out what the current meta is to make some more educated decisions for LVO, but... Yeah,
we don't need no education.
These data points don't line up to anything.
It's just a shotgun pattern on the wall right now. So
that's why it's a great game.
Yeah.
Because you look at this and there isn't anything where it's just like you have to take this to be competitive. You can literally take 2 ATSTs, an E-Web, and triple snowtroopers and be competitive.
Yeah,
and a naked lizard.
Yeah. As I was saying, it might come down to pairings and what you're strong. But, of course, you can't discount the person playing the list. You know, like you said, with the Flyboy list and, just having those reps in so you know what your list can and can't do. You can still outplay your opponent completely, even against in the odds not being stacked in your favor. But... I think it'll be setting the bar for difficulty just depending on what you draw. So, yeah.
All right, you convinced me. I'm running Yoda and Wookies again.
Good. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So, all right, mission accomplished. But any final thoughts on these lists before we, kind of wrap up and say happy holidays?
No, it just got me more pumped for LVO.
Good.
Yeah, no, very excited for LVO.
Wait, when is that happening, Dan?
In 41 days.
What? Yes. Get out of here. That can't be that soon.
Well, yeah, you got to get to work on your table.
Yeah, I do. I actually, I've got it all. I've put it in a carry case now, so I need to actually get it out. I need to find out what John recommended for the rattle cans for his Jetta board that he did, because I want to basically replicate that kind of style.
Yeah, Home Depot, it's like the red-brown color.
That's it.
Just looks like brick.
There was some gray in there too. I know there was.
Oh, I mean, rattled cans.
See, you're trying to keep your trade secrets a secret, and I don't appreciate that. That's why we're going to have a table full of owls out there instead of my awesome table. But anyways, thank you to all our Patreons that keep us going and recording. Appreciate you guys. John, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Outrider_John, JWHN.
Dan?
On the Discord as either Dan Tech or Outrider Dan.
Fantastic. And you can find me on Twitter at GRN_Archer or on Twitch streaming space sci-fi games, Captain_Archer there. Happy holidays, everybody. I hope you have if you're going to be traveling, that you stay safe and all that, and come back, and we'll see you here soon. I'm not sure when we're going to record again, probably after
after the New Year's.
Yeah,
is our next scheduled record, because we might have a special guest that we're lining
that's
up.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Santa?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, he's just going to be complaining about logistics too, and he couldn't get all the things he needed. But anyways, guys, take care, everybody. We'll see you real soon, Outriders.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders Podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.